Hello everyone and welcome to what is the week 12 and 13 update essentially on United Scarab Khemirates. First off, it is good news. We have made the Rebel playoffs. So why did the week 12 game not happen? Well, as I said in the week 11 game, I was away on holiday. That was from Tuesday to Tuesday, which pretty much only gave me the Wednesday night to get that game in, and then something came up and I wasn't actually able to make it. So we took an admin loss in week 12, and we've now been awarded the admin bye-week win for week 13, which leaves the table looking a little bit like this. We are 8-3-2. We are going to finish second unless Berserk loses something stupid like 9-0 to the Crusaders of Calador. Now, obviously, with the greatest of respect to Anubis, who's a perfectly good high elf coach, that is an unlikely result. So we are working on the basis that we're going to finish second, which is good enough to get us the second place playoff place. And that means that we are going to face third place from the Big O's Division 2. So we are, well, firstly, looking forward to that game. Delighted to have managed to scrape in. I don't think the form was very great towards the end of the season. Obviously 6 wins out of 6 and then 1 win in the remaining 6 that wasn't, obviously the admin week didn't really count into that. So been a while since we had a couple of good results on the spin, but we made it. Obviously the 6 wins at the start of the season was enough to get us over the line. After Parmu and Chubstep both failed to win in those week 11 games that we were talking about. So Glaudian and Thurnlow both did me a big favour there, so I was able to sit in Crete and celebrate going to the playoffs, which was quite nice. So the team, I'll just pick up the team from here. We've managed to replace that dead Tomb Guardian, which is good. We've now got Juanubis, Manubis, Fangio in the team. What we decided to do was hire him after the bye week, because I wanted really to increase the odds as much as possible of any of the 2 MVPs and the touchdown that you get going on to Billy Ray Osiris. Naturally, none of it did. We ended up with an MVP for the skeleton here, Jose Mourinho. We ended up with an MVP for Ron Boneman, which gets him towards another level, which is not too bad. And we got a touchdown on Imhotep Pratchitep, which is kind of, not much really. Would have preferred that either on this skeleton here, the skeleton there perhaps, or certainly one of the 2 Tomb Guardians. But Tomb Guardian SPP is certainly hard to come by, we are finding. But anyway, what we can do is have a quick look at, there's 3 possible teams we might face over in Big O Division 2. So we can take a look at them now. Big O is somewhere amongst this massive list of leagues that we have admin rights for. So here's Big O Division 2. It's third place that we're going to be up against. At the moment, that's Mutant Roshi's Bear School, which is good old Crusader, who is to the Big O what I am to GMAN, essentially, the sort of lead streamer over there, if you like. So that'd be a hell of a showdown between me and him. Should that matchup arise. Now, Tomo, who's in second place, and Crusader, who's in third, have already played their week 13 games. Tomo got a bye-week win, which has pushed him into second. Crusader lost to Warecaster at the top of the table there. So, points-wise, you've got Tomo on 26. You've got Crusader on 24. And then you've got Lynx in the mix here on 23, who hasn't played his week 13 game there. He's playing against the old Hobart Honey Badgers, the High Elves. Now, the reason that there's 3 possible scenarios is that if Lynx loses the game, then of course we play against Crusader. If Lynx ties the game, then he moves into third place and we play against the Capital Rats. And if Lynx wins the game, he moves into second place. Tomo drops to third and we play against the Elven Union team, the Arcana. So the first positive is that none of those are horrible armor value 9 teams that we might struggle to break down. But the flip side is that 2 of those are horrible armor value 7 teams who might run away from us in much the same way as we struggled against the Wood Elves, Pyros, for example. Crusaders team, you'd think the armor 8 would probably be the most beneficial matchup of the 3 for us. just because it'll be a bit more grindy and a bit less agi based. But Kislev are a weird team, and you never know. He just has some good players. So we'll take a look through the three now. The Capital Rats at 11:30 are the best part of dead. He's missing a solid 293 SPP Storm Vermin for that game against Monkey Junks, and also his thrower as well. So if he was to end up phasing me, of course you get MNGs back for the playoffs. So that is a solid 403 SPP coming back onto this team, guaranteed. If that match was to be a draw and we end up facing the Capital Rats. So what they don't have a one-turn threat. The gutter runners are weak. We've got one Blodge Step Fend and then 3 rookies. But of course you can expect at least one of those to probably level in the game against Monkey Chunks. The Storm Vermin are quite good. Now that's a strength 4 Storm Vermin with Frenzy. That is probably actually problematic really. With a lack of guard, we can almost certainly set up scenarios where that thing Frenzy traps itself. Turnbull, M Turnbull here is a serious threat. It's Claw, Mighty Blow, Piling On, and Dauntless to boot. The Agi 4 helps him dodge away from potentially tricky situations. But this is a team that could cause us problems, to be getting a lot of inducements even when these two players come back. Probably certainly enough for a Wizard, and maybe enough for a star player as well. So that one's... There's pros and cons to this matchup. Of course, the lineman being Agi 3 means it's a bit more difficult for them to dodge away when we get the Tomb Guardians based up against them. So this one might not be a terrible matchup, and if we can remove Turnbull early in the game, then you'd think we'd be in a good spot. Elsewhere, the Arcana are a 1640 Elven Union team. Now, we've never actually played against Elven Union before with the Khemirates. This is what they're looking like. Very much, there's a very strong Elven Union team, this actually, and Tomo is a very good elf coach. We've got 5 key players here, 2 blitzers, 2 catchers, and the thrower. But a couple of movement busts on them. This catcher here, the movement 9, Agi 5, leap, and blodge, is certainly, that would be a problem for us. Does have a Mighty Blow player and a couple of guard as well. That's more guard than you'd really like to see on an elf team. So the matchup against Tomo, obviously it's all armor value 7 except the blitzers. So it would be down to how much damage the Blitzerars can do on their 1 blitz per turn. And whether or not we have any dirty players, fouls we can take, and whether there's any players left based against Tomb Guardians with Mighty Blow who can try and knock them down as well. It's a classic elf versus Khemri matchup, that one. And then, of course, the third option is Musin Roshi's Bear School, who are a really, really high-value Kislev team. They will get this Blitzer back to add 150k to the 1890 they've already got. So that's going to take them above the 2,000 mark to TV 2040. So in that scenario, we would be the team getting all the inducements. Now, of course, all the players have leap and very long legs. We've also got a lot of block amongst the top half of the team here. A couple of blodge players, in fact a few. We've got Son Goku there at the top, who's strength 4, but he is armor value 7, so there's the potential to take him down a peg, take him out, if you like. The Blitzer that will come back is guard, but also armor value 7 as well, and there's a third AV7 player down here in the Dirty Player Wrestle. But there's plenty of wrestle and plenty of skills here to cause us lots of problems. Dive and tackle is not really too much of an issue for Khemri, because I'm not going to be doing all that much dodging really. So the blitzers that come with dive and tackle as standard aren't really, that skill isn't really a massive threat, in theory anyway. But again, that one will be a tough matchup. 4 rerolls as well, which is certainly plenty. But we would be able to have a think about what sort of inducements we might want to take for that. Can maybe pick up a wizard, a couple of bribes. So the match itself, of course, the playoffs start on the 3rd of October, I believe it is, that Wednesday. So with it being a match against Big O coach, it's likely enough with the time difference to be towards the weekend. So it'll probably be a Saturday or Sunday game, you would imagine, if all goes to plan at least. So we will certainly have our own version of that. Of what I might post as well to the playlist, there'll be a Rebel cast version of all of the playoff games. So the caster will be casted, if you like. So we'll make sure that once that's posted up, that there's either a link in the comments to it or whatever, so that we've definitely got coverage of that in the playlist. And mainly just at this point, a thank you if you've watched all the way through the season. Thanks for doing so. It's been good fun. A bit of a roller coaster ride in which we had all of the fun at the start of the season and all of the stress in the second half. Very much had the playoff jitters, if you like, for the second part of that season. But we made it in the end, and it's my first playoff appearance. We've been in Rebel since season 3, had 4 seasons with the Bargain Boozers, of course, the Dwarfs, and then 1 ill-fated season with the Halflings, the Bargain Brunches. So, at what is the 7th attempt, we finally make it to the Rebel playoffs, so that is at least a monkey off the back, if you like. So we can take a bit of time and just enjoy the experience, really. Hope to get through the first round. We're in a section of the bracket where if we did win that first game, we'd be playing against, as it stands, either Arch Excel or Andy Darvo. So that would potentially be a bit of a high-profile game as well. And then even a win there would take us into the realms of coaches like Morka or Toast Guy. So some good fun games on the horizon. Stay tuned for when that playoff match goes up. And hopefully we can have a good run.